I'm Sonic the Hedgehog, and you're watching 30 Days of me, Sonic, on Super Beanie Man Gaming.
On today's episode, I'm going to be doing a game review for Sonic 3 on the Megadrive, where I talk about what is good and what I think is bad about this Megadrive classic. So first off, we have a really cool opening animation, and the title music here is just brilliant. I absolutely love it. The music in this game in general is brilliant. So there is also a really cool save feature in this game that is an absolute godsend. The game opens with a short animation following on directly from Sonic 2, where Sonic is Supersonic as he arrives on Angel Island, and you think, great, I'm going to be Supersonic straight away. But then this guy happens. Knuckles the Echidna is a brand new character who is first introduced in this game in such an epic and badass way. You're just left wondering, holy shit, who is this guy? Because he just punched the super out of Supersonic, and if that wasn't bad enough, he then steals your emeralds, laughs at you, and runs away. What a brilliant opening for a character, yet unfortunately, as you play through the game, he kind of loses that badass sort of appeal, as the more times you see him, he just starts to become a little bit annoying and cliche. He's like that supporting character in a sitcom that only really has a catchphrase, and whenever you see them, they just keep using that same catchphrase over and over again. It's fun at first, but by the 100th episode, it kind of gets old fast. So he'll appear, you'll hear his music, he'll chuckle, and then he'll just do something to annoy you and block your progress. And worst of all, with Knuckles in Sonic 3, you never actually get to fight him, because at the end of Launchpad Zone, he ends up just taking himself out, so he just seems like a bit of an idiot here. I just think it's a massive waste of the character in this game, especially with that really strong opening. And yes, I know you do fight him in Sonic and Knuckles, but if you were to just have played this game, you can't help but feel disappointed by the lack of a Knuckles fight. So another thing that I don't particularly enjoy about Sonic 3 is the Blue Spheres special stages. These are just completely different to the really awesome and fun half-pipe sections in Sonic 2, as this one is more of a sort of 3D maze where you have to collect these blue spheres, and once you collect all of the blue spheres while avoiding the red spheres that will just kill you and take you out of the special stage instantly, you'll end up getting the emerald. One of the problems I had with this is when the stage speeds up after a few seconds, it can be really hard to actually navigate and see. It always used to hurt my eyes because he went so goddamn fast. It just never really clicked with me, these special stages, and I just didn't really enjoy them as much as the half pipe. They're definitely better than the special stages in Sonic 1, but yeah, I'm not really a fan. But it's worth pushing through, because the reward for collecting all 7 Chaos Emeralds is, of course, the ability to play as Supersonic, and just like in Sonic 2, he is absolutely awesome and such a blast to just transform into once you collect 50 rings and just breeze through a level, because nothing can really kill you other than like getting squashed or a bottomless pit. So it's just great to hear the Supersonic theme play and you to just go at the speed of sound through a level really quickly. And because of the game's save feature, you can use Supersonic whenever you like once you've unlocked him, which is great. You don't have to complete the whole game again and go all through the special stages again because you have that save feature, so you get to use Supersonic more. Another good thing about the game is that Tails is now much more improved when you get to play as him, because you can actually now fly yourself by jumping into the air and then tapping the jump button to fly. You can't actually fly forever because Tails will get tired, so it doesn't actually completely break the game, but it is really fun to do. And Tails could also pick up Sonic, so you can get past sections that you might struggle with otherwise. And there's a really cool boss fight that incorporates this move in the Marble Zone, and it's just great. It improves Tails' character to no end and makes him feel more unique. Another unique feature of Sonic 3 is the inclusion of mini-bosses in the first act of each zone. So these are often smaller scale and sort of more simple boss fights where you're not actually going against Robotnik, but more one of his mechanical creations. And they're just fun little elements to have. I think it adds more to the game. So when you finish the first act, you will always have a boss encounter in every single zone's first act. And it's just nice. It's a nice break from just finishing a level normally. And it keeps you on your toes a bit more, and it adds to the sort of difficulty in a way and can help make the game last a bit longer. And they're just always fun to do because you're not really expecting it, especially the first time you play it and you see the one in the first zone. Another new thing that I like in the game is the new bonus stages. So if you have 50 rings at a star post, you can jump through a portal and take to a short bonus stage. I like the one with the bounce pads where you go through like a gumball machine, but the other one with the spheres where you have to bounce up without hitting the beam below, that one was annoying, but this one was always cool to get a shield or an extra life. Speaking of shields, Sonic 3 introduces elemental shields where it will give you an added layer of protection and maybe a new offensive move. There is an electric shield that will pull in rings nearby and also give you a double jump. There is a bubble shield that will allow you to breathe underwater, as well as do a short bounce, and it can also deflect some enemy attacks. There is also a cool fire shield that will protect you from fire, as well as allow you to do a dash forward in the air when you press jump again. It was a cool answer to the Fire Flower and Tanuki suit that Mario could use in Mario 3, and I think they work well here. Sonic 3 also has a much more greater emphasis on story, as it has a real cinematic feel to it, and there's a lot of really cool and standout moments, especially on Angel Island where the zone just burns and sets on fire, and then the zone just changes, and just in general there's loads of cool standout set piece sort of encounters and scenes that just really help to convey the story more than ever before. Each zone also has some cool set-piece moments where a cool action spectacle scene will happen as you progress through the zone. Hydrocity Zone has something similar to Labyrinth, where you burst through these water tunnels and just get launched into the air, and it's just always fun to see them, and it mixes things up a bit. One of the things I don't like about Hydrocity Zone though is the Act 1 boss, as it's just really annoying when you get pulled into the water vortex as it spins you around and then you just get hit by the boss as it charges down. It can be really annoying the first few times you encounter this boss, as it's quite awkward to hit him without getting hit by him. But once you figure it out, it's not too bad, but the initial encounter is annoying. Likewise, on Act 2 of this zone, straight away, you get this moment where you're getting chased by this wall as it comes to try and crush you, and you can easily mess up here and die, and it is quite annoying to just lose a life to something as cheap as this. It's not so bad on repeated playthroughs because you know it's there, but the first time it happens, it does kind of catch you off guard and become a bit of a problem, especially when you're desperately trying to get up these ramp parts here. One of the coolest moments in this zone though is when you get to run on water. It always just looks absolutely fantastic, and I love it in all of the Sonic games when it happens, because you just absolutely feel like a badass, and there's a great sense of speed in this zone. Coupled with the zone's awesome music, it's just a great scene. I don't, however, like the end of Act 2's boss fight with Robotnik, as I like the idea of it, but I just think in practice it doesn't work as well as it should. So you're supposed to jump on the water to jump up to Robotnik and reach him, but it doesn't always work that well, and it's just one that I really enjoyed. Sonic 3 also adds these zone transitions at the end of each zone to show you in a short animation how Sonic and Tails got to the next zone. It wasn't needed, but it's a nice touch to tie all the levels together in a complete story. One of the worst things about Marble Garden Zone is those spinning tops. When you get on them and they just launch you flying, it can be really easy to get knocked off on them, and when you need to get one to progress, when having to run back to try and find it to respawn is really annoying. Likewise, another thing I don't like about Marble Garden Zone is when Robotnik causes a sort of cave-in and everything's collapsing around you and you have to rush to a certain point in order to avoid getting crushed and trapped. It just always feels cheap when you get caught by these, and I never really enjoyed those parts of the level, especially the first few times you play it, because lives are quite precious when you first play it, and losing them to things like this is just annoying. Carnival Night is the next zone, and to be honest, this zone has, for me, the worst music, and it just really grates. I get what they were going for with a kind of funfair carnival theme, and it does sound great in that respect, but it's just such an annoyingly grating tune, and just hearing it over and over as you go through this zone just makes me hate this level. It's the worst stage for me, the one that I just don't enjoy the most because of the music. I just don't think it's a fun level, and there's so many things that I just don't like about it. All the gimmicks that they put in, like those annoying wheels that you have to spin round that were in Scrap Brain Zone on Sonic 1, or the water, or the balloons that would just pop and bounce you flying around the place when you just want to get up to somewhere, or those cannonballs that you got to try and get into and launch up to a platform, but then there'll be more balloons there to knock you back down, or those bumpers will send you flying, and like I said, the water as well, and you're trying to go through this section but it fills up with water, or it's it's draining with water and your controls will change, and it's just annoying. It's just an annoying zone that I just didn't enjoy. But there was one thing I did like. The Act 1 boss fight was just a really cool, unique fight where you're not supposed to be able to hit the thing that comes out of it because it's all surrounded by electricity, so you need to stand on top of the spinning top and use that to guide it to the robot to attack it with its own weapon. I just thought that was a nice sort of unique sort of boss fight that you don't see often in these games, so it was kind of a memorable one. One of the things that made a nuisance of this zone for most people was the barrel, but this didn't really cause me a problem, but I'm putting it in anyway because this was a roadblock for a lot of people. You just have to press up and down and it will move. It's easy. So the coolest moment comes at the end of Carnival Night as you venture into Ice Cap Zone and you get this awesome snowboarding section where Sonic just snowboards down this mountain, and it's just so cool, especially with the Ice Cap Zone's music. It just really pumps you up for what's hopefully going to be a really cool and exciting zone. And then at the end of it you slam into the wall and it causes like a mini avalanche that just buries you in snow. It's just such an epic moment, but then unfortunately the zone's momentum is just lost as these lift sections really slow you down as you have to spin dash into each one in order to make it move up to the platforms you need to jump to. It just really slows the zone down for me and I didn't really like it. Another thing I didn't like was when you had to move this platform to send it down this slope that you had to jump on and use it to crash through these walls. It was kind of a bit of an abstract puzzle that just sort of comes out of nowhere, and it will definitely catch you off guard the first time you do it because it's something that you've never done before. Likewise, these platforms that you have to sort of jump and bounce on to get up higher can be really finicky and annoying, and it's really bloody annoying if you fall off them, to be fair. So after defeating Robotnik at the end of Ice Cap Zone's Act 2, we are then taken to the Launch Space Zone, and surprisingly, this is actually the game's final zone. Yep, already we're at the end. Man, this game is short.
But wait, there's more!
And sadly, while the Launch Space Zone has some awesome music, and it does actually look quite visually cool and unique, it is a zone that's kind of a bit lackluster because it just basically consists of a bunch of lift rides where you'll jump into this like pod and it'll spin round, or you'll jump into a lift and it will eventually charge up and take you to your destination, and that's pretty much all you really do in these zones, acts of this zone. It's just, that's all I remember from it, just sitting in these and waiting for them to go round and round and round to get me to where I needed to go. And sometimes it's only like a little ledge high up that you just can't jump to, but you have to wait several seconds for the animation to play out, and it just really sucks the life out of this zone because there's just so many pods you'll jump into and spin round, and you'll hear that same sound effect and the same animation will play, and it's just like, oh my god, when will it end? When will I get just to have a really long section where I can just run and get some big speed? But no, I'm just sitting in all these pods all the fucking time. Ugh. One of the things I do like about Launch Base is the final sort of boss at the end of Act 2 where you fight Robotnik, but it's actually a fake out boss fight where you think you've beaten the game at that point, but then all of a sudden you can jump into a Robotnik ship, and it's here where you get taken to the final boss, and it's where you would see Knuckles just KO himself. So this was a really cool moment as well, just riding in Robotnik's ship, and it takes us to the final boss fight, which is again 2 stages, and the first phase is actually quite boring really. It doesn't really feel like a big enough boss fight to be the final zone's boss fight of the game. It just feels a bit like a mid-zone boss fight than anything. It's quite easy to defeat him. Once the screen goes dark, you get to the final boss of the game, and this one does feel a little bit more epic, and it's quite awkward to try and avoid his attacks and actually hit him due to the spikes on his head and the big arms that will grab you. So it is a bit of a tricky fight. I did die here quite a few times when I first played it, but it's not a super hard fight, and it doesn't feel, again, like an end of game boss fight, though it does feel more epic due to the music change and the screen and the time of day getting darker. It just doesn't feel like as epic a fight as we had in Sonic 1 or Sonic 2. Even though there's 3 phases to this fight where you fight 3 different robots with Robotnik, it never feels like it's like balls to the wall hard and really epic and worthy of the final boss fight of the game. And that's one of my problems with it, to be fair. And then the ending itself of the game is kind of just a massive letdown really. It's not really an ending really, because it's actually a to be continued kind of thing, because it follows on directly to Sonic and Knuckles. But all you see is the death egg just fall down, and then that's it. Sonic turns around, waggles his finger at you, and then jumps off screen to then jump back into the camera as either Sonic or Supersonic. And it's just like, wow, that was it. And I always remember being disappointed at that ending as a child. So yeah, it's just disappointing really. But one thing I will say is that the credits theme is absolutely fantastic. I love this song. It's just superb. It's always one that I remembered from the game. And in general, the game does have brilliant music. Whether or not it was composed by Michael Jackson in parts, I don't want to say. But the music is brilliant in this game. There's a lot of great tunes. I just hate Carnival Night Zone, to be fair. The rest of them are bangers. It's a really cool soundtrack. So yeah, that is it. That is pretty much it. So all that's left really is to give a final verdict. And for me, Sonic 3 gets an 8 out of 10. If you just put it together with Sonic and Knuckles to be the complete edition, it would easily be a 10. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next vid.